everyone, it's Monica, and today I am here being accountable, trying to be responsible, and unhauling some books. Basically, at the beginning of the year, I set a challenge for myself that I didn't want my physical TBR to grow. And so here I am, unhauling some books because I recently hauled some books. Most of these are books that I have just been holding on to because for some reason or another I just thought I would read them eventually, and I just haven't. And I kind of just had to have a moment with myself where I was like, you're probably never gonna read these. Or they're books that I have read and just am not really interested in rereading in the future, so I just wanted to pass them on to friends. A couple of them I will say I do eventually still want to read, but I just feel like I don't want to own them physically. Like, they're not books that I feel like I am going to have a strong attachment to, and so I'm fine with getting rid of the physical copies and eventually just reading an ebook or an audiobook that I borrow from my library. So without further ado, let's jump in to the books. The first I guess 3 books that I'm unhauling. They are a series, and it is the Shatter Me series by Tahira Mafi. These are well-loved YA sort of fantasy, dystopian-ish fantasy novels. I read the first one a while, years ago, and I remember enjoying it. I had fun reading it, read it really fast. But I just didn't have a huge desire to read the next 2 immediately after, and now I don't remember anything really that happened in this one, so I'd have to reread it in order to read these 2, and the new 4th one that's apparently coming out. I don't know, I just I don't see myself ever really putting aside the time to read these, so I just want to send them on to a new home to someone who would. From what I recall, Juliet basically follows this character, Juliet, who has been in prison. She hasn't ever had human contact, and because she can, I think, kill people by touch, something like that. And I don't know, I just didn't have a huge attachment to the story or the characters. I was mostly reading because I wanted to know why people were so obsessed with Warner, and I didn't find that out in the first book, so I just didn't care enough to keep reading. So yeah, there's that. I will give a disclaimer: if I unhaul one of your favorite books, I am sorry. Remember that everyone has different reading tastes and prefers to read different things. It is not me sort of attacking anyone who would want to read these books. I just know that I wouldn't, so I want to put them back out into the world so those who would enjoy them can enjoy them, you know? The next book I'm unhauling is Caravelle by Stephanie Garber. This is one that has been compared a lot to The Night Circus, but a YA version. But then I also hear from a ton of people who have read it that that is a horrible comparison because this is nothing like The Night Circus, except this also is sort of about a circus. I had a lot of desire to read this last year, and just the farther and farther away it got from this book's release date, I sort of became less excited to read it. I just feel I kept hearing more and more mixed reviews, and it just sort of didn't make me very excited to read this one. I do think that if I were to read this book, though, I have heard really good things about the audiobook, so I'd probably read it that way, and I won't really read it as this physical copy. Ready Player One, I'm just never gonna reread this. I'm not a huge I enjoy Ready Player One. I'm really excited for the movie, but I'm never gonna reread this, so goodbye. Then I have Blackbird of the Gallows by Meg Castle, and this was one that was sent in a page habit box, and I just don't have a huge really desire to read it. Read a couple of the first pages, and I just it didn't really suck me in, so I'm just gonna donate it. I think it'd be kind of cool if someone were to get this, because it does have all those extra annotations and things throughout it, which I think could be kind of cool for someone if they were to pick this up at a thrift store or something. So yeah, I'm just gonna pass this one along. If you've read any of these and I'm oh, I don't think I'll like this one, and you think I will like it, feel free to try and convince me, because I can definitely be persuaded. The next book I'm unhauling might be a bit of a surprise, and that is Warcross by Marie Lu. I read this one at the kind of second half of last year, and I did really enjoy it. I am really excited for the second book in the series. I just don't love this design of this book, and I also don't think I will reread this book, so it's not one that I really want to have on my shelf forever. So again, I just want to put this one back out into the world so that someone who will love it can love it. And I have Things I'm Seeing Without You by Peter Bignani. This book was sent to me, and I just It sounded interesting, but I don't really foresee myself reading it. It is a YA contemporary story. It sounds like it could be really good. It follows this girl who, her boyfriend or the boy that she's in love with commits suicide. And it's about her life after that and continuing after that happened. Actually, I might keep this now. I hadn't read the synopsis for this in a while, and I didn't realize that like her father like had an alternative funeral business, and so it's like kind of exploring grief and loss and death. Although, I don't know. If I'm being honest, those are things that like are kind of triggering for me, so I tend to avoid reading about them. I don't know. This one I might have just accidentally convinced myself to keep. We'll see if that happens. If you've read this, please let me know what you thought, because I'm like sort of on the verge of this one, like 50-50 if I'm keeping it or not. Then I am getting rid of When Dimple Met Rishi by Sandhya Menon. Oh, I feel so bad that I'm getting rid of this because I know so many people love this book, and I am really happy that this book exists. I am not really in just like a contemporary mood right now, which like I'm sure come summer I might regret getting rid of this. But I did read like a third of it, and I just, for some reason, like couldn't get into the characters. I just never continued reading it. So I want to put this again back out into the world so that someone who will really love this one, and I know that there are a lot of people who will love this book. I just want it out there so like someone who will appreciate it more than I did can read it. I do really love the characters, and again, really happy that this book exists, and I'll try future books by her. But this one just wasn't for me. I don't know. I'm sad about it because I love everything about this book. I just couldn't connect with it. And sometimes that just happens. Sometimes it's not the genre for you or the story for you. And that's fine. But definitely still recommend checking this one out. Then I have Born Wicked by Jessica Spotswood. I just have owned this for like years. Like 5 years maybe. I've never picked it up. I just had to have a moment with myself where I was like, you're never going to pick this book up. And I'm really never going to. So I'm just going to get rid of it. I don't know. If you think I should read it, let me know. But more than likely, if I do read it, it'll be like an audiobook from the library or something. Then I've got Slasher Girls and Monster Boys. This still has the price tag on it. I paid $9 for this. And here I am giving it away. Again, I don't see myself. I've had this for like ever since it came out, basically. I've had this for, I think, a couple Octobers now, and I just haven't read it. And I'm just not a huge anthologies fan, usually, unless there's like something about it, like something compelling about it, like maybe it's like a really feminist anthology, then like I'd probably be into it. But I don't ever foresee myself reading this. I don't know why I bought it. It's basically a bunch of short stories of like horror stories, and it's just not my thing. It's not my thing. I was just like, it was October. I felt like I should buy it. I bought it, and I like pretty much instantly regretted it. So I'm just finally getting rid of it. I have a few thriller books that I've had for a little while. These are all from Book of the Month. I love Book of the Month. They're super kind. They send me their books each month. But I'm not a huge thrillers fan. So unless a thriller sounds like very compelling to me, plot-wise, or has a lot of hype around it, like The Final Girls by Riley Sager, which I actually ended up really disliking. Actually, one of these isn't a thriller. Well, two of these are a thriller, whatever. The first one is The Wife Between Us by Greer Hendricks and Sarah Pekkanen. Thriller, marriage stuff. Just like not really my genre, my topic of interest. The Dark Lake by Sarah Bailey. Again, thriller. I'm assuming something bad happens at a lake. I don't know. And then we have After the Eclipse, A Mother's Murder, A Daughter's Search. I'm sure, like all of these, I know that there are tons of people who would love these books. So I actually have like friends and family who I know will love these books. So I'm just gonna like pass these along to them so that they can enjoy them and love them, because I probably won't pick them up anytime soon. I feel like I've said that so many times throughout this whole video, but I don't want it to be like, oh, I hate all these books. It's not that. It's just that like, if I know I'm not going to read something anytime soon, if it's not like on my like must read TBR, then I just don't feel a need to hold on to things. And I think like traveling as much as I have over the past couple of years, it's really, it's made like things, especially books, like owning a bunch of things that are like added onto a to-do list. Like every book I own sort of feels like an addition to a to-do list for me. And so it's stressful, you know? So I just want to like let things go, let things be free, and not feel like bad about it. And then the last book that I am unhauling is The Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds. This one isn't going far. I'm literally giving it to my roommate Kaylee, who lives next door to this room. I really enjoyed this book. I would highly recommend picking it up and reading it. I really enjoyed reading this physically, and I think that it is a really amazing reading experience. And again, I really enjoyed this book. It is about a boy who is basically on his way to murder someone in revenge of killing his brother. And the whole book takes place in an elevator, and basically every floor he stops at, someone in his life who has been who has died because of gun violence gets on and like talks to him. That sounds a lot more preachy than this book actually is. It's just like a very quick read. I read it in a night. It's just like not a book that I think I am going to reread anytime soon. So, you know, I just wanted to pass it on to someone else who could read it for the first time and enjoy it. But yeah, I really do definitely recommend picking this book up. It is very powerful, and I think a lot of teens would get something really powerful out of this book. So yeah, those are books that I am getting rid of. I am definitely really excited to pass these along and to have more space on my bookshelves for more books. Thank you guys so much for watching this. Again, if there are any of these books that you really think I should hold on to, let me know in the comments down below. Probably will take me a couple of weeks to actually unhaul these, so you have time to convince me if you think I should hold on to any, and I will talk to y'all next time. Bye!